Hi, this is Patrick with 8-Bit Doodads, here for our next installment in our AppleTalk series. We're going to be adding several new machines to our network, starting with this Apple IIe.
Say, kids, what time is it?
It's 8-Bit Doodads time!
Okay, here we have my main Apple IIe driver, the machine I use the most when I'm testing software, testing new hardware, setting things up. And we're going to be adding this. This is an AppleTalk workstation card for the Apple IIe. It includes 2 ports you'll see here, the 2 communication ports. You can set one of them up for AppleTalk, and the other one you can also use at the same time directly plug into a modem or a standalone printer that isn't AppleTalk capable. So we're going to be putting this in the machine. Just to show you, I have some other things already hanging out. This is the control panel for my Fast Chip 2E. If you're interested in more information on that, I've got a quick look coming up that's going to talk about that. And also the control panel for my CFFA 3000, which I also have a quick look that will be released soon. As we open up the computer, you can see the CFFA is in here. This is a hard drive and floppy drive emulator. It supports using both a CF card and a USB stick. And in fact, what some people will do is take a USB extender cable and run it from here outside the machine so they can have the convenience of the USB stick being accessible without having to open up the computer. The Fast Chip 2E, which is an accelerator card, and I have a networking card already in here. This is a Ethernet networking device. And with this and with the software, you can use this to either over your network download software images using ADT Pro, or you can get on the internet. And I've actually used this machine to telnet into my Linux boxes for doing maintenance and being able to do it right from an Apple console. We also have in here an extended 80 column card. One of the requirements for the workstation card and the software is you have to have a 128K enhanced Apple IIe to support the software and utilities. Where you place this in your machine is a choice you need to make up front. We're going to be putting it into slot 1 and using it mostly for printing, but we'll still be able to, with software, log on to Apple Share file servers, and be able to transfer files over the AppleTalk. That's one of our future videos. But if you wanted to, you could put it in slot 7. And if you have your files, Apple Share set up correctly and the right software loaded, you can actually have this machine, just like you can with the GS, boot from the file share. And that may be something we're going to do in the future. But for the time being, just to test the networking and our one shared printer, we're going to go ahead and put it into slot 1. Now it comes with these 2 ribbon cables that connect to the 2 ports. I'm going to take this off and orient it so that I remember to put it in the correct place. And what I found, it's easier to put the cables through before inserting the card so you can attach them and get them around. Now what they've done for the 2E is you'll see there's some little catches on this and a clip. So you pull the cables through, and those catches that are there slotted into the slot, so you can see it doesn't move around. And then all we have to do is twist this on there, and that locks the AppleTalk connector right on the back. Then we'll take our top cable, line the pins, and our bottom. And then we can simply insert the card. Lastly, I'll put the case on. And then I have another one of those phone net connectors already daisy chained on. And we can plug this in to that AppleTalk connector. Now there's two. There's a printer and a modem labeled. I'm going to plug this into the printer one so that I remember when I set up the software that I'm using that port. And I believe I'm doing this correctly. And I'm doing this exactly not correctly. Where I thought the arrow should be on the top, it actually should be on the bottom. And there we go. We have that installed. Next part will be to install the software, turn on our printer, and see if we can get it to print. Okay, now we're back, and I have the Apple IIe plugged in, and I'm going to power it on. And I have put on that USB stick the Apple IIe workstation software disk that comes with the card. And you'll see, since this is the first time I'm running it, it's asking me for a name for the machine. So I'm going to call this Apple IIe. And now it's putting it on the network. And you can see it's coming up and allowing me to log into file servers if we had one set up. We don't have one set up. There's Chooser, which is what allows you to select a printer. And if everything's okay, I should see the AppleTalk printer we already have on the network. And it's asking me for a what kind of printer we have. Now, I should have a mouse installed in this. Let me see if we can use the tab keys. And we can. And I'll select the Imagewriter. And, oh, that's an Imagewriter LQ. Oops. Oh, AppleTalk Imagewriter II. And I was hoping to see our Apple on there. Okay, we're back. I did a little troubleshooting to figure out where the problem lie in. I checked all my phone net telephone cables between devices, and in fact directly plugged some in, what have you, to see what might be the problem. And I pulled out the workstation card again, and those two ribbon cables that are in there, I had them reversed. So I plugged them into their, I switched which ones they were plugged into. So basically I had the cable plugged in to the wrong place. So I've since fixed that. We can reboot the machine, and it's going to reload the Apple Workstation software. It's registering our machine, which we've previously named Apple IIe, onto the network. And now if we go into Chooser, we can select that Imagewriter, and it will go out and search the network, and it will look for the Imagewriter behind us, and you can see it's now found it. And we can select that printer, and that will become the default printer for this machine. I can quit out of the utility. And just to test to make sure that's working, I'm going to go down into ProDOS Basic. And the normal way you print on an Apple II is by putting it in PR number 1. which redirects output from the screen to the printer. And I'm going to type a command to list the files that are on this disk, and that should be sent to the printer behind me. And once it's done printing, we can then do PR0, and it will end the print. And I hear the printer going. It just advanced the page, and it's printing out the pattern. And when we're done, I'll type PR number 0. The reason you don't see it is because that output was directly to the printer. Most software does that switching internally. So now that this is defaulted to that printer, if we were to bring up AppleWorks or AppleWriter or another ProDOS application, it would know you set the printer type to Imagewriter so it knows how to do bolding and everything else like that, and it will know how to directly output to the AppleTalk networked printer. Now that we've done this, we're going to move on to another machine, which is adding a different Macintosh to the network. One, so we can show expanding the network, but also that's going to become our file server, and we can come back to this machine in the GS and share showing files between the different machines. Okay, this is going to be the next addition to our network. This is a Macintosh Performer. It is one of the first PowerPC Macs. It has a CD drive, floppy drive in front, and internal storage. And just open it up in the back. It has our standard AppleTalk ports, ports for keyboard, mouse, SCSI port, and DisplayPort. And you notice there is a slot in here, and if you had the right card, you could actually add to this machine an Ethernet networking port. We're not going to do that on here. We're going to bring up another Mac that already has those both built into it to provide those services. But the reason I want to add this Mac next, because it's native AppleTalk, and it will be capable of not only connecting to the network and printing to our printer like all our other tests, but we can set this up as a Apple filing protocol file share file server on our network, and begin to look at being able to transfer files from one machine to the next, both between Macs, Apple IIes, the one we just installed, and the Apple II GS. So stay tuned, look forward to the video on adding this to the network and some of the other things we're going to do before we actually plug it in. If you like this video, be sure to click the like button and follow us on 8bitdoodads.com.